If you're using Blender for any amount of time, you might have really wondered how can you increase your render times? How can you make your machine, let's say your laptop or your desktop, performs much more faster? And you might have came across these videos where they essentially gives you tips and tricks to adjust your Blender setting so you can get the maximum juice out of your own existing machine. But there's always a limitation to your own lower end or mid-tier graphics card. Let's say you're using 1080 Ti or even 3060 or even 4070. It just simply cannot compete with the glory of 5090 or even say 4090 card. But not everyone has the budget to really spend $3,000 to get the 5090, and my kidney is also staring at me. So what we can do, how can we really get more access to powerful GPUs? And you might have seen the title of this video, right? Or the thumbnail, which I'm saying that 5090 for $1. That sounds too unbelievable, right? Stay till the end of this video and I'll tell you how can you access your 5090 card for just under $1 and supercharge your Blender rendering experience. So let's get into the computer screen and let's see how can we know much more about it. So this is the open source project which I have created, which is called Cloud Blender Render, and it's made of from Rust and let's say JavaScript on the front end. Now you don't need to know the technical aspect of it. Basically what that means is a very high performant, let's say high performant on the backend side. So you don't need to worry about the performance because Rust is very comparable to C and C++. So it really sits on top of the Blender, and it really does all of the current operation and life cycle that typical Blender user would require. So this is the open source software. So there is one typical requirement that you need to have a Chrome or Chromium based browser. So it really uses something called show picker directory, which is something that you don't need to worry about. I'll just kind of demo as we progress along to this tutorial. And for this API is not specifically present in Firefox and Safari. So for the die-hard Safari and Firefox users, please consider switching to any Chrome or Chromium based browsers. If you don't like Google Chrome, you can also install the open source Chromium as well. That would work just as fine. But for this project, you need Chrome or Chromium based browsers, and also you need an HTTPS connection, which is something that we will talk, which is the cloud provider that we are really going to discuss. So for this project, I have really discovered 3 cloud providers that are providing GPUs at extremely dirt cheap rates. So one is the Runpod, second one is the Vast, and third one is the Quickpod. Just to give a disclaimer, none of these companies have ever sponsored this project. Like I did reach out to them, but they were simply like this time, they were like, hey, we are not interested. So on everyone's page, you will really see that they claim that they are for AIs, they can do a lot of stuff, and none of them have a dedicated thing as such that they would support like Blender users or 3D software in general. This is like vague description that, yeah, that platform can support. And interestingly, the same platform, which is really like, are able to run AI and GPU, because underneath everything is Linux and everything is about NVIDIA drivers. The same platform and same environment is also suitable for our Blender rendering. So, and luckily, Blender happens to be the software which is available on Windows, Mac, and Linux. So that's the thing that we can really take advantage of. So now to really kind of summarize, which one should you really choose from? If you really compare the pricing, which is something that we will really see right here. If you go to the Runpod, if you really see, let's say 5090 is for about $0.89. That's like, just imagine a $3,000 card, which of course it's obviously inflated. And that kind of GPU is you're getting for about $0.89. And similarly, for like if a 4090 card, which is about 2.5k USD, you're getting it for like just about $0.69. Sweet. Okay. And that is something that we're really going to get to it. And this is just their own standard server pricing. If you really go to the other sections, which is something we'll kind of see, the pricing of 4090 can go as low as less than 0.4 USD. And if you come to right here, the pricing are just as the same. If you really come to all of this, what we want is 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, and Quickpod and all of that. But here's the thing. As I have already mentioned that my project requires you to have Chrome and HTTPS connection. So Runpod is the only cloud provider right now which provides HTTPS out of the box. So this, let's say Vast and others are not really supporting it. So only go with this provider when you have some issues with Runpod, which is very unlikely, as I have been using for like past 1 or 2 years, and they have not seen any major issues with them. And a quick also, let's say, disclaimer again, this, apart from the template, let's say this template link, it's also a referral link, meaning that by clicking on this and signing up, and let's say whatever amount you will spend for the first 6 months, a portion of that revenue will directly go in funding this open source project, meaning that in future I can add much more feature, let's say, and I can make it much more better and much more support to have it, all of that. So I can tackle bug fixes, I can do all sort of stuff that the community would require or community would be demanding in that sense. So my humble request is, like, please don't go to Google, type out Runpod and directly sign up there. Just, I will link this GitHub repo in the description, as you can check up right now, and you can just directly come, click this, sign up, and then please, that would really help this open source project thrive much better. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we would need to have some blend files. Let me just close this tab bar. I have already downloaded this. Let's say this is my own blend file, and the other tools are downloaded from the GitHub. Let me show you what are those. So first of all, this is the sofa, which is like here, realistic sofa. Another one is this iceberg and shipped. This is called a white islands. So if you go right here, and again what we'll do is control click and sign up right here. Okay, so as you can see, it's really highlighting this template link. Now if you are coming on Runpod for the first time, or even on the Vast or the Quickpod, which is obviously not the focus of it, we are focusing on Runpod right now. What will really happen is, it will really ask you to sign up. So make sure you sign up with your Google account or your whatever email you want to really suggest, and then your balance would be very zero right initially. So what you need to do is, you need to go to the billing section. First of all, you need to really add a minimum balance of $10, and you really continue with the card, and then you can really do payments right here. Now same really applies for Vast and even Quickpod right here. That's not a problem. But if you really come here with $5 and try to do it, it really says that its value should be up and higher, up greater than 10. Let's see. But okay, let me just zoom this. Okay, that's much better right now. And if I come back, what I'll do is, I will select the pods, and there's like two clouds. There's a secure cloud and one is the community cloud. Community cloud are basically just like, let's say you're a crazy rich dude. You have 10, 40, 90 cards, and you have a crazy high bandwidth connection. What you can do is, you can really get in touch with the Runpod and just host and make your GPUs available to all the public out there, so that you can also make money, Runpod can make money, and the users can get benefit out of it. Basically just like a cab rental service, except for the GPU right here. So if you really come here on the community cloud, you will see the difference between let's say the rates here is much cheaper than the secure cloud. And the secure cloud is something that these GPUs are rented in, let's say, tier 3 or tier 4 data centers that Runpod really manages, as you can see. So if you really come to Asia, North America and Canada, all these locations are here. Similarly, if you really come to the cloud, and also this is, so it's also available in India right now. If I come here, and okay, of course, what we really need is 1590 right here. Okay, it seems like it was not available first in India. They have added. Seems like a good progress. But anyway, first of all, what we really need is, we will see the pricing difference. If you really see, 4090 is just for like $0.34, which is like, it's almost free, you know. It's really like, you can, if you just load $10 of top up balance, you can really very well just do rendering for like about, at least if I'm correct, is about 25 hours, which is like a lot of frames. And even with a single and even in single hours, you can render for up to like 500 or 600 frames, depending on how heavy the action, how heavy the lighting, scenes and texture modeling and all of that parameters really depends. So first of all, what we'll try to do is we'll come to the community cloud, as there's not much any difference, and you can choose, you can really select it by default, but for now I will choose as India because it's the closest thing to me. And yeah, so of course I will select this, and of course this is my Docker template, which is appearing right here. Now by default it really comes with 50 gigabytes of storage. If you have more requirement than that, if you are already rendering with multipass, compositing, EXR and all of that, so in that case feel free to adjust the size, maybe even 100 or let's say 500 GB, whatever you really need. Okay, so that's the case we are really requiring right now. So we don't really need to kind of override anything. We need to just put anything. We just do back, and then what we'll do is we'll just deploy. So, you know, I will just fast forward this process because it might take some 10 to 20 seconds here and there to really just kind of fetch the Docker image and then, you know, make it live for our use case. Seems like it's ready up and running. Let's check the logs to really confirm it's really working or not. Yeah, so as you can see, there's a log called server running on port. And what you can do is you can just click on connect, and you can maybe try to see here. Okay, so as you can see, it's giving the logo. Yeah. So of course, let us wait. Yeah, everything is loaded. So as you can see, this is the pretty much UI of it. And if you really scroll down a little bit, you can see CPU utilization, RAM utilization. What you are getting is here about 90, let's say 100 gigs of right here. And you can get up to 100 utilization. I don't know why it's 100 right now, but anyway. So what we can do is we can really get to 0 GB of utilization, memory utilization. And here is the network IO. And also here's the footer, it's right here. Now, the major concern, number one, is the security. If let's say if I'm a hacker, if I really get access to this link, you know, I can directly view what you're really looking at right now. So right here, and you naturally don't really want to redo that, right? So what you can do is you can come here, click this gear icon or the setting icon, and you can just enable the secure session. So what that will really do is it will really enable the authentication. So now if I just kind of, you know, okay, if I really come here, try to just, you know, refresh this, as you can see here, the control is like, it kind of shows you, please contact the administrator. But now if you have enabled the authentication, but you also want to share it with your friend or colleague, how can you do that? You can just copy this, share URL, and you can really paste it right here, you know, and you can press enter. So now it's been really active and working. So let me just refresh, reset this, and you close this. And obviously you can see the Blender version. This app will most likely be on latest Blender edition. So you can see this is on 4.51 LTS, and you can just kind of close this. So first of all, what we have to do is we have to really, you know, just upload a blend file. What we need to do, and kind of take this and just upload it. So it's really uploading. Yeah. Okay. So here's been uploaded right here. And if you really come below, you can see it's been really uploaded right here. It's kind of wavy here. So if you face any issues while uploading, let's say your broadband is like up to 50 or let's say 100 Mbps, and you might say that, hey, my upload speeds are not that great. So in that case, what you can do is you can really go to Cloudflare Warp, and you can really just download it. You can download a stable upload speed. You can really achieve a stable upload speed. So what this really does is it's a sort of a VPN, but not fully technically VPN, and it really optimizes the path for the internet so that you can get less hop, so you can actually get much more smooth and consistent internet. So I already have this on my PC. If I kind of come here, and what I'll do is I'll try to just reconnect it, and yeah, so it's connected right now, it's private. And if I come right here, so this is really uploaded, and you can see if I really hover it, I can just, it pops out this trash icon. So if I click this, it will be deleted. Yeah, so it's deleted. So if I just, and again, there's another way to really just kind of drag and drop right here. Let me just make it right here. If I make this here, and again, what I can do is I can just drag and drop here. Okay, so it's now uploaded, as you can see, and this graphs here is the same thing. So yeah, so what we have to do is we have to select the frame, and what I'll do is I'll select the frame 80. Yeah, and I'll select the engines as cycles. I'm sure you might know what this is, and you have to select the cycles device as optics, because optics uses the RT cores in the graphics card, which is like real-time ray tracings, and you go start. So now it's starting, it's really rendering. Okay, yeah, it's just here. So what if I really now just kind of make you see that what we want to do is we want to go for 81, let's say if we go for 90, and then what we go is from 100, and then what we'll try to do is we can just start right here. Now if you have selected the keyframes within your blend file itself, let's say 0 to 400, or let's say even 1000 plus, if you select this entire, it will render all of your frames that you have specified within the Blender file itself. So but for now, I am not really kind of doing that. I'm just kind of showing you that you can set single frame or either range right here. And what I'll do is I'll just try to run it, say 90, 91. Okay, so say it's 100, 81, okay. So as you can see, it's really rendering much more fast. Like each frame is being rendered for just under a 3 or 4 second. And the interesting part about here is this has denoising on, and the denoising is also really been working on the GPU as well. Previously, what was really happening, that the denoising was being handled on the CPU, and what that really meant was that the rendering was super fast, but the denoising was the bottleneck, which caused the render times to be much more larger. But here we don't need to worry, because it's super fast as the denoising has been handled on the GPU. And as you can see, the utilization was 100 right here. The GPU memory was spiked to about 4 gigabytes, and here this right here. But now you might be wondering, okay, fine, it's working. Where can I access my file, right? That's what we are going to look at, right? So what you can do is, if anyone is like PNG, JPEG, WebPEG, except for EXR and raw format, or even like TIFF file, you can directly press this. It will open in another file, let's say in another tab that you can re-download. And what you can do is, if you now want to just kind of download entirely all of this, what you can do is you can select this, and you can come to desktop, maybe sample file, and what I'll try to do is I will just make a new folder that is called cloud blender render, right? And then what I'll try to do is I'll just select this, and I'm giving the permission to view the file, and I'm giving the consent to really just save all these files in my folder, right? Okay, so if I kind of come here, okay, if this is the file right here, and let me just save these changes, and here, so this is it, this is right here, this should really work. Okay, yeah, it's really working. So 5 are downloaded right here, 42%. Okay, 83% are downloaded now. And here, it's been downloaded. So you don't need to really just kind of, zip the file, and just download the, sorry, you don't need to pack file, you don't need to download the zip file, extract it, and then delete the zip file. It directly, just kind of stores everything on your, let's say, specified folder. And this is the functionality which requires HTTPS connection in the Chrome. If you are on Vast, how that will work, I will just kind of show you at the later stages. So this is pretty much the demo of right here, right? But we're not going to really stop there. What we are going to do is we are going to be more adventurous. What we're going to do is, for now, what we'll try to do is we'll just stop this and we will see how can you deploy multiple 4090 GPU instances, right? Yeah. So now let's go back to our GitHub page where we can deploy our multi GPU instances. So we click here, right click, and yeah, this is what we really want. And right here, we will come to our secure cloud, that is a community cloud, and you can select this 40. Okay, and we can select this too. You can also select 4090, but I think with this requirement 4080 super is also fast enough. And yeah, you can select this. Also the pricing is much lower than even the dual or even let's say single 5090. And if you really want to compare how much faster they are, you can really always go to Blender open data. So opendata.blender.org. You will just type out open data blender GPU and it will give you the search result. If you come here, it will give you the list of which is the fastest, and you can see the 6000 RTX, which is also available on secure cloud on Runpod. But of course that is crazy expensive, right? We don't really generally need that much. So where is it? Okay, yeah, I think it's the demand is so high that it's not really available right now. So what we'll try to do is we will come over to community cloud. Yeah, this is selected super 90 super 4080. Let's try to deploy it. So here we are right now, and what you can really do is you can just pick and just kind of upload this so far. And sometimes you might really face any issues like maybe let's say the driver might not be updated here and there. Let's say the render can get failed, this is a machine issue or whatever in that case. So with that regarding, what you can do is you can just terminate your existing instance, select a different region, and pick your GPU instances that should really solve any problems that you might be encountering. Although that is pretty rare, it doesn't really happen a lot, but still that troubleshooting tip might be really helpful for some of you who are already watching right here. So of course I'll just fast forward right here. Okay, so it's over. The uploading is over. As you can see, the uploading is finished, and right now you can see the difference right here is instead of 1 you can also see 2 GPUs are present. The CPU is ideally 0, and let's try to render it. What we'll try to do is we'll select the single frame, and of course it's a powerful GPU, so obviously it cycles with optics, and then let's start. So ideally, the GPU should kick in. Yeah. So as you can see, the GPU memory is kicking in. So as you can see, it's trying to loading all the assets and files into the GPU. So that will take some amount of time. And also, if you're loading or let's say rendering for the first time, if you're having a large blend file, in that case, the rendering kernels might also take a little bit of time to reload into the GPU memory. And this is a standard typical Blender behavior. This is not the fault of my app, or let's say even Runpod right here, or any even Vast or Quickpod in the case. You'll get the very same behavior. So what you have to do is, in case of let's say large or huge blend files, so the GPU will be filled first, and once it's filled, the utilization should reach ideally to above 95%. So let's wait and watch. And of course, yeah, now we can see it's really saying that loading kernels might take some time. The assets are loaded. That's my guess. Oh yeah, there's a tiny spike here and there. You know. Okay, so it took quite a bit of time. Maybe now it started to work. Yeah. So, it's kicking 43. So let's say even now, both of the GPUs are 99%. And as you can see, it's really moving at a good pace. 200, 300, 350, 400. So now it's compositing, you know, and yeah, so it's really, live preview is just right here. Now, regarding the live preview, please always set the output to images format. If you're using FFmpeg video or any kind of MP4, let's say any video format, the live preview will simply not support in that case. Although it will work, the render will still happen. You can still see an MP4 right here, but the live preview will not be supported in that case. So as you can see, the GPU was fully being utilized, right here. And of course, this is right here. So what I can try to do is I can just select this. I can go to my desktop, sample blend file. I'll try to choose this and yeah, select it. Yes, I want to save it. And I think it should be done because it was a very minimal file. Let me just check right here. Refresh this. Yeah, it's right here. So TIFF file. And yeah, there you go. As you can see, this is right here. This is what you can really access. Now what you can do is post-production. What you want to do is all of that is up to you. So this is what it is really is. Now for the guys who are really invested heavily into the compositing, make sure that you really pass your existing, let's say, render passes and all of that into a multi-layer EXR file. Do not really just render out each individual, render pass into its each respective folder. Otherwise, that kind of workflow is just simply not supported as of now in this project. It really supports, just say in each individual file. It doesn't support the folder structure. So make sure if you're really compositing a lot here and there, so whatever render passes or whatever the effects, color grading that you're doing inside of Blender, make sure you really pass directly inside of an EXR. It's a single layer EXR or multi-layer EXR in that case. So that is the one thing that you really need to remember. Now this is the tip that I got from one of my friend. Yeah. So that's pretty much all I really wanted to show. And of course, there's one thing, right? I forgot. What was that? How does this thing really work if there's no HTTPS connection, right? What would really happen is if I just kind of edit this pod, I'll just kind of, do all of right here, 4000, save it right here, and it will just restart. Okay, now we can just, instead of that button, we need to kind of right click, go to this IP, and here really opens. Now, of course, this IP address wasn't really added to the list. So now what you can do is you can just close it right here. And as you can see, it really retains the state. It really knows that the file was present and just it pulled, fetched out the file from our server. So if what will really happen is it will, if I really render it another frame, let me just do it for now. Cycle optics, okay, let me just cancel it right now. What I'll try to do is I'll just quickly render, 2 and 3 frames, and then I'll just kind of show you how it really works. Okay, so now it got quit. So what we can do is you can see that there's this 3 diff file. Now, normally what would really happen is it will just directly download into your own default download folder, which is like, in Mac OS or something, there will be something in Windows and Linux, there's a default download folder. So what you have to do is, first of all, you need to go right here, go to the settings tab, and then, you have to really change your default, let's say folder temporarily, so that in that case, it just directly doesn't dump 100 or maybe even thousands of frames directly into your own download folder. So that's a little bit of an hassle. So that is the reason why I told you just to directly use Runpod as my functionality, where it directly asks you your folder and it just directly saves there. That's much better. But still, we are here. So what we'll try to do is we will come over here and let's try to download this, right? Okay, this has got 4, and it really wants to ask it, does it want to download multiple files? And if I say allow, then it will just dump all of these rendered frames directly in my download folder, which is something I really don't want. And neither, I would say, majority of the people who are watching this video would really want that either. So what I'll do is I'll just go to the settings tab and I'll just change the download folder, go to this sample blend file, and what I'll try to do is here, and what I'll try to do is, create another folder called temp 1, and select this. Okay, select this temp, and now what I'll try to do is I will really allow this permission. Okay, done. And now I will just, okay, it's really rendered. Now let me pull over my folder. Should really work right here. Sample blend file, cloud blender render temp 1, and right here. So this is a little bit of an hassle. So that's the reason why I told you, and of course it's also possible that you would forget to really just revert this change back to your default download locations. So that is the reason I kind of suggest you to go for Runpod, even though there's much not, even though like pricing might be much less, let's say even 10 to 15 cents less on Vast or even Quickpod, but the user experience that you get on let's say Runpod is much better. So with that said, this is pretty much the end of the demo, and there's one slight appeal that I really want to make. By some reason, if you find this project to be, enticing or really fascinating, or it really helped you in any sort of way to, make your life productive, by any means that it really this project really helps you to make any kind of money, then please consider clicking this link and supporting me to this Buy Me Coffee page. So, and the reason why that is because, this project has taken me more than 2.5 months to really make on my own with full-time, as kind of like a full-time job itself. So I have a lot of plans. I have really, I am really in process to kind of, figure out, can we add a support to the extensions and all of that. So your support will make it much more possible for me to really just dedicate my own time for this project, so I can make this application more better and provide you much more support. And Just like Blender, an open source software support faces the problem where only less than 0.1% actually donate. So please consider donating this project. If this, as I already mentioned, if it provide you any value, if it helped you to make more money, so I can really just kind of, come back and really just put that money into this open source project and make this even better. Even a single dollar would make much difference. And there's approximately 2 to 4 million Blender users. So what that means is, even if I take 0.1%, that is like less than 20,000 people really don't, let's say, donate about $1 each, then that's enough money for me that I can really sustain this project for, let's say, at least next 2 to 3 years. So that is the request I kind of wanted to make. And yeah, this is the project here. I will really link all of this into the description. And if you have any question, comments, or queries, please leave down in the comment box below and I'll be happy to get back to you. Till then, stay subscribed and I'll see you next time. Bye.